My team is responsible for basically anything that is movement based for the sheep. So anytime you see a sheep, it's basically us that's making the character move, making the character talk, act, emote, speak, lip sync, all the motion for the animated sheep. It's been a bit of a evolution, a process to kind of find the right balance between, you want it to be a realistic sheep that you believe you could see anywhere, but at the same time, of course, it has to speak and talk. So one of the analogies we sort of used was we wanted all the kind of body mechanics and the motion to be exactly like a real sheep. So we use tons of reference that we shot of sheep. But then when it comes to anytime they're speaking or acting, it would almost be like if you could put on a special pair of glasses and it would just kind of translate what you're seeing from sort of like the sheep anatomy of the mouth moving and the eyebrows and the eyes to what you would, if you were a sheep, what it would look like to you as a human to human. So more expressive, obviously you can see the mouth moving and doing the talking. And that was kind of a good starting point for all of our acting and emotion. Just being as realistic as possible so that we never really stop thinking of them as sheep. There can be, an uncanny valley in animation, if you will, where it can start to feel like an animated sheep versus you knowing it's a real sheep. So we always wanted to make sure, there was a real sheep first, all the motion came from a real sheep, and then we sort of translate that to the human emotions. Typically, we'll have a puppet pass, we call it, where a puppeteer on set has a, to scale size, at least head of, say, Lily, or maybe more. And in the case of true interaction of like petting her, then we would have the puppeteer would, mock that action up so that the actor has something actually physically to act to. Sometimes the puppet's removed, sometimes the puppet is actually used, and we put the CG sheep on top of it. That tends to give the most accurate and like true, interaction versus having to imagine too much what's there. Another thing we do is, typical to visual effects is eye lines, having things to denote where the character is. So if Mopple's running through the Partridge Inn, we've got someone running through to give the actors an idea of where to look. So it's a lot of just checking the relationship between the two characters is feeling right in the frame when you're animating it. You have to be super noodly, particularly with the eye lines, is the one thing that you can't pay too much attention to because the audience is always looking, of course, you hope, at the eyes of the characters, whether it's the human character or the sheep character. So if you get that right, then the rest kind of will hopefully fall into place. But if that part's wrong, it doesn't matter how good the rest of it is.